Yo, I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. In this video, we're going to be going over a Dark and Darker Barbarian guide for beginners. The Barbarian in Dark and Darker focus on using various types of axes, both dual wielding or two-handed, and they cause devastating amounts of damage. So there's a couple of pros and cons to using this class. So the Barbarian is going to hit very hard, probably the hardest in the game. It can destroy doors and chests, has a very high health pool, and it's great for solo and group play. The biggest cons that this class has is it's very slow and it has a very telegraphed play style. It's very easy to kite by ranged players unless you have some sort of speed boost. We're going to talk about here in just a minute. The Barbarian starts off with 4 different skills that you can choose from. You have Savage Roar. Savage Roar is going to frighten all enemies within a 7.5 meter range radius for 6 seconds, and it reduces their physical damage bonus by 25%. You also have Rage, which greatly increases your strength, and movement speed is increased by 15%, while your defense is reduced by negative 20% for a short duration. Then we have Reckless Attack. The next hit ignores 75% of your enemy's defense, and your aggressiveness results in a negative 55 armor rating. The buff is consumed when an attack hits an object or a target. And then we have Warcry. Warcry is going to increase the maximum HP of yourself and nearby allies by 25% for 6 seconds. So Savage Roar is an absolute incredible skill. This is going to cause the PvE mobs to run in the opposite direction. It's going to allow you to clear rooms very easily, and I absolutely love it. This skill is pretty nice to have on your bar. The other ability that I've been using a lot is Rage. So Rage is a very nice opener. Whenever you couple this with Savage Roar, you're going to be able to Savage Roar, and then you're going to be able to charge in with Rage. You're going to increase your movement speed, which is greatly needed on the Barbarian. You're going to have a movement speed increase. You're going to have a strength increase. It's going to allow you to do more damage, and then your defense is going to be reduced by 20%. So you got to remember that you're going to be taking a little more damage, so you need to make sure to avoid hits. But whenever you couple Savage Rage or Savage Roar with Rage, you're going to be able to clear rooms no problem. Those are the 2 abilities that I would highly recommend that you start with as a beginner. These are the 2 that I have found the most success with. So Reckless Attack could be pretty nice as well, but for me, I found Savage Roar and Rage much more useful than Reckless Attack. I just found them to be more consistent with what I was trying to do. Then we have Warcry. Warcry is really nice, especially if you're in a party, because it's going to increase your and your party members' HP by 25% for 7 seconds, making this a pretty powerful engage tool. But I still found that Savage Roar and Rage were my go-tos. I really liked these 2 abilities a lot. And also worth noting with Savage Roar is that this is only going to frighten PvE mobs, but the physical damage bonus reduction by 25% does apply to players as well, making this a pretty powerful ability in both PvE and PvP. Now let's talk about the perks that the Barbarian has. So it has axe specialization, so adds plus 10 weapon damage to your axe attacks. We have Berserker, so the lower your remaining HP, the higher your physical attack power. So each loss of 10% health from your max HP gives 3% more physical attack power, up to a max bonus of 30% of physical attack power. We have Iron Will, that's going to increase your magic resistance rating by 100. We have Savage, that's going to give you physical damage bonus increased by 10% when not wearing any chest armor. Then you have Toughness, which is going to increase your HP by 10%. Two-handed Weapon Expert, which increases physical attack power by 5% when attacking with a two-handed weapon. Then we have Morale Boost, which recovers 12% HP after killing a player. We have Carnage, which is going to increase your strength by plus 10 for 7 seconds when a target is killed. Then we have Smash, the ability to destroy unreinforced doors and sturdy containers, which also increases the impact power of your attacks, plus 1 to better defeat blocks and parries. So currently, I would recommend that you take Morale Boost, you take Smash, you take Carnage, and then whenever I reach level 15, I'm going to take Berserk as well. These are pretty nice. Morale Boost is pretty good. I really like this ability. At first, I didn't slot this on my bar. Once I started slotting this, I really liked it. After you kill a player, you're going to gain 12% HP. This is really, really nice in solo play and in group play alike. And then Carnage is just going to give you a strength increase by 10 for 7 seconds after your target is killed. This helps you clear rooms a lot. And if you get outnumbered in a PvP fight, this is going to help you take out those targets pretty easily to get those multi-kills, which is quite nice. And Smash is a very nice ability. You're going to be able to destroy things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to destroy, so you can bust through doors really quickly to surprise opponents. You can get away whenever you're trying to run from people. So instead of having to sit there and open up the door, you can just run, smash through the door, and continue to run. This is a pretty clutch ability. I like it. It's very unique, and I would highly recommend that you slot this on your bar. And then, of course, Berserk. Berserk is just going to give you a lot of extra damage whenever your health is lower, all the way up to 30% physical attack power. This is going to help you a lot. That's a lot of extra damage. So I'm going to slot that in my 4th slot whenever I reach level 15. I really like this ability a lot. I think it's pretty powerful. Now let's talk about the weapons that the Barbarian can use. The Barbarian is really strong using axes. You can use other stuff, but I've found that axes are the sweet spot. So battle axe, bardage, double axe, felling axe, hatchet, horseman's axe, war maul, the zweihander, and then you can use the Franziska axe, which is a throwable axe, which is quite nice. So starting out, I recommend that you take the two-handed felling axe. So the Barbarian can use a lot of weapons, but I really feel like it starts to shine whenever you start using that felling axe. You start doing a lot of damage. You can use dual wielding in the game as a Barbarian. I've tried it multiple times. I didn't really like it. I think it's quite underwhelming. It doesn't hit near as hard as like the felling axe or even like the battle axe. So I currently am not using dual wield. I would recommend that you don't go that way. Try it out if you want. You can test it out for yourself, but I preferred using the double-handed or the two-handed felling axe. That's the thing that just seems to crush players in the beginning, especially whenever you're starting out. So I'd highly recommend trying to pick one of those up early on. And if you opt to go like one-handed to switch things up a little bit to make it much more of a faster play style, the horseman axe worked pretty well for me in the beginning. You can couple that with a hatchet or some other offhand weapon, but again, I didn't like the dual wield. I just found it a little bit lackluster. I think just going the horseman's axe by itself works out pretty well. You can take out targets. It still does a decent amount of damage, but I think the sweet spot is having that two-handed axe with the Barbarian that just does massive amount of damage. It's slow, it is telegraphed, but you just hit so hard and you can take out enemies very quickly whenever you land your hits. So now let's talk about stats a little bit. So there's different stats in Dark and Darker, and all of these have different properties. So I would recommend that you look for stats on the gear that have plus all attributes, strength, and then general physical damage increase. So your plus all attributes is just going to allow you to get additional stat points in every stat, which is pretty huge. And then you need to hard stack strength as a priority, because this is going to give you a huge amount of damage as the Barbarian, and it's going to allow you to have a much bigger health pool for tanking hits as well. Now let's talk about the play style of the Barbarian just a little bit and how I like to play this guy. So the Barbarian is very much a heavy melee attack berserk type of character. So you're going to be serving as the front line whenever you're in a group, which is pretty fun. You can just rush in and you can take out a lot of opponents quickly. You're very menacing. You're very berserk style. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're a Barbarian. You're just running in there, swinging your axe, trying to take out as many people as possible. So if you have a wizard in your team, it's a good idea to ask for a haste buff, because speed is very powerful. And whenever you run in, make sure you pop your savage roar to reduce all the physical damage bonuses by 25%, and then use your rage for your movement speed increase and your strength so that you can start landing those very heavy hits against your opponents. Make sure if you're in group play though, that you're not swinging your axe too wildly and taking out your own teammates. Be cognizant of that, because with this big two-hander, especially if you opt to go like a big two-handed sword, those things are very long range. They have a wide swing, so make sure that you're very careful whenever you're running in, swinging that thing around. But I prefer the axes. I would highly recommend you stick with like a felling axe or something of that nature. Those to me work the best on the Barbarian. Lots of fun to use. So I'd highly recommend you stick with those, but just be careful, be cognizant that you're not swinging wildly and just massacring your teammates. So in PvE specifically, whenever you're dealing with the PvE mobs throughout the dungeon, most of the mobs can be taken down fairly easy with a single swing or two to the head. So aim for the head whenever you're attacking the mobs. So it is very important with the Barbarian that whenever you swing, you try to back up, because it is a very slow play style. So whenever you swing, this is something I struggled with in the beginning with this class, is that it is slow. So if you swing, you want to make sure you back up so you don't take a lot of unnecessary damage. So you got to time their swings with your swings. You want to swing your axe in between their reset time of their swing, so you don't take a lot of damage, because you can't move very fast. So you want to swing, hit them, back up, and wait for them to swing, and then re-engage, hit them again, and then by that time they're probably dead. Make sure you're holding your savage roar against the stronger mobs, or if you're swarmed by several mobs, then pop your savage roar, because a well-timed savage roar can disperse the crowd, and it can stop a powerful mob from just coming at you and just completely chunking your health. So make sure you're saving that ability and don't waste it on just like a single mob, a single skeleton, a single mummy, something like that. You want to use it whenever there's multiple mobs around. It is very strong, and whenever you use it, you can use it and then chase them down with your rage and kill them before the fear wears off. That's a pretty good tactic as well to start clearing rooms. And then remember that the unique trait that you have that you want to slot is called Smash. So Smash is going to allow you, again, to just bypass the time it takes to open like a door or a chest. It's going to allow you to surprise your opponents whenever you're running in PvP and in PvE. It's going to allow you to get away really quickly if you need a quick escape from a large pack of mobs. Then you can run to another door. It'll give you a little bit of time to open another door and shut it so that you can make a safe escape. So now in PvP specifically, whenever you're fighting with teammates versus another trio, it can get very crazy very fast. So your Barbarian is going to be the engaging front line. You can dive in there and cause a massive amount of chaos, cause a mass amount of confusion, and start taking out people pretty quickly. So whenever you push in, it can give your team the space to push up into like very favorable spots. So you want to play fairly aggressive, but you also want to communicate with your team, because communication is key. If you're pushing up into the fray and they're not ready for it, you can just go in there and just get killed. So make sure that whenever you are pushing and playing aggressively, you effectively communicate that to your team. But it is fun. You are intended to play aggressive. You have a high health pool. You have a lot of strength. Your melee, you want to be pushing in there and playing very Barbarian-esque, because that is what's going to get the kills. And then if you have team to support you, make sure, again, if you have a wizard on your team, ask for the haste. You can get invisibility thrown on you as well, and you can push forward into the group and then just start taking people out. So whenever you're playing solo specifically, you do want to make sure you pick your fights fairly carefully, because you want to make sure you have an opportunity to jump into the fight, because you are slow and your attacks are pretty telegraphed. So make sure that whenever you run in, that you pick your opportunity correctly, because you can get kited around by ranged fairly easily. If you're running rage on your bar, it greatly helps whenever you're playing solo though, because you do get that speed boost. But just make sure you're picking your targets and picking your opportunities to jump into battle very wisely, because you are slow and you can get outmaneuvered fairly easily if you're not careful. So just remember to keep your health topped off, and remember that you do have the smash ability. I forgot about this, and I know I've said this earlier, but I forgot about this ability. But make sure you remember that you have this perk, because it will help you get out of some sticky situations if you use it correctly. Just bear in mind, as a Barbarian, whenever you have all of your damage buffs and movement speed buffs up, and you're rushing in there, just aim for the head and you will take targets out quickly. That's the key. You do want to play pretty aggressive with the Barbarian, but you also want to play smart. Again, make sure you're picking your targets wisely, picking the right opportunities to run in. If you do that, you're going to be just fine, and you're going to be taking out enemies in no time. That's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. Hopefully this helped you out in some form or fashion. If it did, please make sure to like and subscribe. That'd help me out tremendously, and I greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy Dark and Darker content, or if you just want to come hang out live, come check out twitch.tv/BDLG. I'm live over there, 8 o'clock a.m. CST every Monday through Friday. We have a great time over there. I'd love to see you there. That'll do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys again for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.